Hello, good evening, everybody, and welcome, or afternoon, or morning, wherever you are. Welcome to Patreon. This is the Patreon only Q&A. This is the 19th of October 2021. I'd love to welcome here Alison, Ethna, Jill, Jane, Jean, and Sue. And I know I've heard from Mary and Pamela that who aren't coming. I've had your apologies. So if you're watching the replay, I assume you will be because you've asked questions. Hello to you guys too. Shall we say hello to each other, either waving or unmuted, to everyone on the replay and each other? Hello. Welcome. Brilliant. Okay, so we've got some lovely questions tonight, and I'll go through those. And if there's time, I've got a little, I know that we keep geeking out about exercises with this group, so I've got something to share with you if there's time for that as well. Brilliant. First of all, though, I always start with a grovel. It just seems to be my nature these days. But Jean, a while back, you emailed me and said, Shelley, did I miss a Patreon Q&A in September? And I never managed to message you back. Or maybe you came anyway, but it wasn't the week you expected. I somehow, for the first time ever in all this online stuff, delivered the online Q&A on the week before it was due. So if you had it in your diary as a date, I allowed to explain to you why, just because, you know, you're the insiders, you get to know all the gossip. I'll explain to you how I'm pretty sure it happened, but I literally just was like, oh, and I've also got to do the Patreon Q&A on Tuesday. And I kind of sent out the invites and did it a week early. It was the weekend of the Heart Weekend, if you remember, guys, the weekend before. And here's what happened. We had the weekend of the Heart Weekend, and my concert didn't stream on the Sunday night, if you remember, which was not a highlight. And then we had some positive COVID tests in the house as well on the Monday morning. So it was just like I think my head exploded, and then the concert was rerunning on the Wednesday, and I just knew, you know, Tuesday is usually early-ish in the month, isn't it? So that is how it happened, Jean. So and I've been meaning to send out an email for ages about it, but somehow putting it in an email felt a bit awkward. So it was just one of those very human moments, I'm afraid.
You know, I think you did answer me.
Oh, did I? Oh, okay then.
I know that the answer to that question, but yeah, I was sitting there waiting for it because it was in my calendar, and then I was like, geez. Then I looked through my emails and there was no invite, and so I was like, oh gee, what's going on? So no problem.
You ended up having it the week earlier on top of the Heart Weekend, when I could have really done probably with 2 hours sat down catching up on things, but you know, that was what happened anyway. So thank you. But Jean, also we should give Jean an award for being on the ball and noticing, I think, don't you? I think she should get like a gold star of some sort. Brilliant.
So call it iPhone. iPhone keeps my schedule.
Brilliant. Yes. I know what you mean. Yes. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, so let's move on to some of the juicy things that we've got to talk about today, but thank you for that. So okay, the first question, I should go in order of questions. So Pamela has messaged me about Serenvach, which is a tune that I sent you guys. I think you all had that at some point. Do you recognize the name? It's a lullaby. And you've asked me about the melody. It says, does the melody D start the roll, or is it placed after? I think I know what you mean. I haven't read that very well. With ascending rolled chords on the piano, I would start the bass moving to the melody being last. Perhaps I should listen more carefully to your CD. So let me bring up the music. So the thing is with rolled chords is that generally the way you play them seems to depend on when they were written, the opinion of you or your teacher, the composer, if you can still speak to them, and also I guess your own personal preference. Okay, so that's a really unhelpful answer. But I mean, for instance, I know orchestrally, I remember when I was quite inexperienced playing in an orchestra, and the conductor saying to me, "You're coming in early with those chords," and I was like, "No, I'm not, am I?" I don't think I wouldn't have dared say that at the time. I was just kind of like, "Oh no," but I was like, "I'm sure I'm not." So I kept doing it where I thought was right, watching him really carefully. And what I was doing was I was rolling them to the beat. So of course, from the conductor's point of view, I was ahead of the beat. But for me, my top note was on the beat. But playing orchestrally, that sounds rubbish. So I now know that, but I'm talking about when I was like 14. And so so in an orchestral situation, you know, you start the roll on the beat unless you're specifically asked not to. Like I'm now thinking of the Vaughan Williams like Green Sleeves, where you would roll. I think you roll before the beat and that. Anyway, that would, you know, it's very much up to the person who's running your group if you're or orchestra if you're in that situation. With the way that I tend to write, I'm tending to roll into a melody note. So for me, when I write these rolled chords, I'm generally looking for you to roll ahead of the beat and to hit the melody note on the beat. Because you know, if you were singing along, so that if you were singing along to the melody would hold its place rhythmically true to the song. So, but now I'm going to check that that is the case when we get to section D. Oh, which isn't marked in this version because it must be a different. Oh, I've brought up a different version. Okay, but it's melody lines. So, oh, hang on, and the wrong key. Lovely, beautiful. Right, okay, let's crack on with this. Let's get myself in the right key. I'm still in the wrong key. Oh, hang on a minute. I'm having a moment now. Okay. Oh, there we are. Beautiful. Okay. So actually, with this one, because it's so, I would, for this particular one, my personal preference would be to take the D on the beat and then roll away from it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In slow motion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, it's almost imperceptible though when you do it fast, isn't it? That's what I'm aiming for. And then I'm just in case I missed any others here. There are some more here. There's one there. Let's just see if this one might have been, just in case this is the one you're after. Oh, let's do the whole hop, right? Okay, right. Let's just try that one more time. So, oh, I'm having a kerfuffle tonight, aren't I? Let's get this right. So that one I would probably take late. Da, da. No, I wouldn't. That is ahead of the beat. I'm generally ahead of the beat. Okay, so let's just do this one more time, Pamela, because I'm not demoing this very well. 44, 45, 46, 47. I'm looking above 47 for the roll there. I'm going to go into that one. But it's out of tune, obviously, so it sounds awful. But okay. I am going behind the beat there. Okay, so I'm going against what I'm saying here. Let me find one other version, one other bit. Okay, the first one. So the first one is definitely harmonic. And so the first one I would definitely be thinking of 1 and 2. So with the first one, I'm thinking harmonically. So I'm taking the bass note as the beat 1. 1 and 2. Can you hear that? It's 1. Can you hear that? 1. So the beat 1 is with the F. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. So that the bass note is coming in on the whole beat. But I actually have a hunch that maybe in this whole piece I'm doing it like that, which is against what I just said. Yeah. Okay, Pamela. At the beginning of this conversation, I said to you, when I write, I usually write with a melody line hitting the strong beat. In Serenbach, I clearly don't. So because I'm enjoying the pull on it, because it's a lullaby and it's slow. I might pull up another piece in a moment so you can see what I mean about bringing it onto the beat. Let's just try that one last example. I gave you this 47. Yeah, that is, and that's again the lower note, the harmonic note that's coming in on the beat. Okay, so yeah, Pam, I would go with this particular piece. Unusually for me, it's looking like I personally am playing it, and so you can copy me or you can do it differently. I'm actually taking the bass note to land in the upward ones on the strong beat, and I'm allowing then with the ones that are going down. I just do it one more time from here. And the same, that one's an upward one, so that's going on the beat. And the downward ones are these ones here, aren't they? So let me just get to those ones. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just very fast. So with that one, it's the D that's landing at 57 on the beat. And then these are following suit. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the D, the melody note is holding true to the pulse. And then let's have a look at this one. Did it differently that time? Oh, Pamela, I think I might be playing around with this dreadfully. So this isn't helping you at all. This is why I can't answer your question straight. I'm doing what the heck I feel like to make it sound musical. That's really unhelpful of me. And now I feel slightly guilty. I was like, I always do this. Wow, I've surprised myself, is the honest truth. Okay, I'm going to do a different tact with this. when it comes to roll chords, I should go back to what I said at the beginning. When it comes to roll chords, it's very much dependent on the kind of piece you are playing. So which parts of history it's through stylistically, like if you were playing like Fauré or Debussy, there's, you'll be told, and we get told, I remember being told in master classes, you must play this like this, and you mustn't be too lavish with them. They must be quite straight because that was what it was like at the time. And it can be, you can get very tied up in kind of being like, okay. If you're working with a group, as I've mentioned already, stylistically, I was told I was playing out of time and realized it was because I was rolling ahead of the beat, not on the beat. And then when I fixed that, of course, it sounded in time to the conductor. He wasn't hearing anything ahead of the beat. When you're playing on your own as a solo, and you're playing my pieces, I give you permission to do what the heck you like always anyway. I want you to enjoy playing my music, okay? But in general, when there's a melody rolled chord, I'm rolling to the top of the chord, okay? I want the chord note I want the melody note to land on the beat. So actually this stands into a little bit what Jill's just asked me as well. We're going to cover playing chords under the melody note, because if you don't want I don't personally like hearing the melody late. So like Efna's a singer, you're here tonight, aren't you? If you were singing along and the harpist was playing the note you were singing like a fraction of a second after you, it would be a bit irritating, I think. So that's why I like to keep it so it's very much true to where the melody would be, even if there's no melody being sung, because rhythm is king, isn't it? Rhythm is so king in our playing, or queen. Okay, so it's very important. So yes, so I generally roll so that it lands on the beat, but in the particular piece you've asked me about, which is Serenbach, it's a lullaby, and clearly I'm playing it on an out of tune harp that doesn't sound great tonight, so it's not doing it justice on the way I might play it, but I can tell I'm indulging in this, and I'm actually pulling it wherever I feel like, because it's just meant to be dreamy and slow and gentle. And I'm sure sometimes when I sing lullabies to my children, I pull the tempo around and do extra pauses because you're just trying to get them to sort of really dream off and go to sleep. So I guess it's probably kind of almost alluding to that in a way, rather than strict tempo of a song, or playing a rhythmical song. So that was beautifully not helpful answer, but basically I'm giving you permission to do what you like that you feel is musical, and if you are playing to a song, my taste is to always keep it on the beat, so that you roll before ahead of the beat and the melody note sticks with the underlying rhythm or the underlying pulse of the song. So there we are. I hope that maybe helps, and I'm going to move on swiftly and hope I can answer another question better. I'm going to go to Jill's question, because it does kind of tie in. Jill asked me about when you are playing a tune and you've got chords underneath your melody note. And I think maybe it was in this class. In fact, Jane, I think it might even be you in another class, mentioned about harmonizing scales, didn't you? Was it you who mentioned that to me? Yeah. Okay, so if you just play the scale, you can also under the scale play harmony notes as you're going down to make it sound pretty. I mean, it's just a way of practicing chords and things. But what that is in effect doing is it's harmonizing a melody. Our melody happens to be the scale, which is why it's a great practice, because it puts you in a great mindset for when you're then harmonizing melodies without having to think. Something I've noticed over the years is I've got to a point where I don't always get it right, but mostly my hand will fall into shapes. If I'm doing a chord on the left, the right under the thumb will fall into chords that match what the left's doing without any brain power, because I've just been doing it for so long. But to start with, it was like, okay, which chord am I on, blah blah blah. Anyway, so yes, Jill's specific question is when you're doing something like that, do you often lead with the thumb? Yes, you do, because you're trying to, you might be imagine you were trying to do that with 4-note chords, okay? You'd need all 4 fingers, wouldn't you? So you'd only have the thumb on top. You wouldn't do anything quirky like that. Sometimes that can, very often, so I mentioned Sylvia Wood's books just because I know that it's one of the places where because she writes in a lot of fingering, doesn't she? So it will be, I think, quite obvious to get out one of her books and have a look. But she quite often have something where you get like 2 melody notes and then a chord, won't she, on a song? So you're like, da, da, I'm gonna make up a tune now. Da, 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 whatever. Okay, so something like that. And very often the chords are landing on the whole counts, or not on the passing notes anyway. They're landing when you've got a note where the melody is part of the main chord. So if there's an F chord going on, it might be the F, the A, or the C. And then if it was the B, she probably doesn't then often put a chord over the top of that because it sounds so clashy. So she'd leave the passing note. She leaves the passing notes. Passing notes are just notes in between the chords, by the way, which I'm sure many of you knew. And if you didn't, don't worry. yeah, they would sound clashy. So what I'm trying to get onto here, Jill, is that then often what happens is you might get like 2 notes and then a chord. So it's quite common that you might do 1, 2, turn into a chord. That happens a lot too. Or maybe yada dum dum, or 3 notes into it. But if it's very straightforward, just playing, can I do it again? It's just something like that. I don't think I'd bother thinking, oh, can I do something fancy with my fingers? It would just all lead with the thumb. So I think it depends on, whether it's all chord work. If it's all chord work, then probably would always have the thumb on top. If it's some single notes and chord work, sometimes you might be able to use this. If you in one-to-one harp lessons or in Sylvia Wood's books, whatever, or in some of my music, I might have marked in certain start harp things where we might grab all 4 notes and then just play the thumb and then play those. I do this all more and more because I've got lazier and lazier, because if I can put the handshake down, I just do that rather than having to think, okay, I've got to hop. That's really secure for me. I can just do that. Sue, you look like you're going to try it. So let me give you some notes to try it on. That was me doing E, G, C, E in the right hand, and playing the E on its own, and then playing the 4, 3, 2 on their own. And then, or there might be the example where you're going like 1, 2, turn, if there was 2 passing notes first. Or you might even slide. Okay, I don't really ever do that, but I know people do. So if Ellie was doing lots of slides, Ellie's might be certainly if it was I would do it for two notes. I might consider doing it for 2 notes. Sorry, I'm just trying both ways there to see which I might slide on that. The thing is with the thumb slide is that they're a bit like Marmite. You may love them or you may hate them. They can just change the tone of the sound you're making, and I don't know how obvious it is, even if someone sat like a meter away, but I can hear that there's a difference in I can't make it sound quite the same as if I play the note. So it's then it becomes a choice of how much you're being heard, how much you want the note to ring. Maybe it helps, with the nuances to have a thumb slide. Maybe it even helps. So yes, when you're doing chords onto the melody, you are often relying on the thumb taking most of the melody notes, maybe turning, maybe sliding, maybe even hopping as well. But consider the 4 note. If you're doing a 3-note chord, sometimes you might consider the 4-note place with the thumb and then going down into 3, 2, 3, 4 as well. There we are. Is that kind of answering what you're after? Yeah, awesome, brilliant. Okay, and that was a slightly convoluted.
Thank you.
Good, brilliant. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so Lorraine's gonna watch the replay later too, so hi Lorraine. Thank you. Okay, I've been asked for an overview of modes from Mary. So Mary, I've got a whole course on modes, which is probably like, I don't know how many hours of content, ladies. It must be like 6 times 6, must be 36 hours or something of hours of teaching on modes. Okay, so Mary, I'm going to give a little whistle stop tour if I possibly can now. I did want to bring up a picture of a piano keyboard, but no, Mary, you know what the piano keyboard looks like. I'm just going to go for this. So if we all just visualize a piano keyboard for a moment, you can we've got the white notes, and we 7 white notes in each octave, and then you've got 5 black notes, haven't you? Okay, so this adds up to 12, doesn't it? There are 12 different notes within 1 octave. Agreed? Is everyone happy with that? Yeah. Okay, so these 12 different these 12 semitones or half steps that you can have within a scale, the way that we are in Western harmony, Western music, using music, because you can get quarter tones and stuff as well. But with those 12 half steps or semitones, we can change how, whether we're going tone, 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 semitone, tone, 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 semitone for a major one. That would be the major steps, or if you're thinking of in half and whole steps, that's then whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, isn't it? I hope I've got that right. So tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Can you see me using my fingers, by the way? This is naughty of me, but this is how I remember them. Okay, because I was taught very early on, this is a great way to remember it. If you go to your knuckles and joints and you call those the tones, and the fingernail the semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. It gives you the setup, so you don't have to ever remember it. But the naughty thing is then I've never remembered it properly. So anyway, moving on swiftly, we have these 12 semitones, don't we, or half steps that we can play with. And a major scale sounds like this. You're used to the major scale, Mary, okay? A natural minor scale, if we go from C, and I'm sure you've done this with me before, so I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, it has a relative minor, doesn't it? Okay, so it has a minor that shares the same setup of, or it uses out of the 12, it uses the same 7 notes. So actually, I just skipped a moment there because you've got these 12 notes available within the octave, but we're using 7, aren't we, for our C major scale, for instance. These are all the white notes. If I drop down a third now, so I'm going to count from C down to B down to A, I'm going to find the relative minor. Okay, but it's the natural minor, okay? It shares the same, it's using the same 7 notes taken out of those 12. Isn't it? It's just we're starting the scale on in a different place. Agreed? Does that make sense? Are you with me still at the moment? Yeah. Okay, fine. So we've got 12 semitones to choose from. At the moment, I'm playing on the white notes. I'm now going to play another scale from those, using those same 7 different pitches taken out of the 12 possible ones, and I'm going to drop down now by a third, and I'm going to play A, the relative natural minor. So those are the 2, Mary, that you're really used to, okay? You know about those 2, and also I'm sure you know about having harmonic and melodic minor as well. But for the case of modes, we're actually looking at keeping, and we're going to keep everything the same. So I'm now going to tell you about the modes using just the white notes of the keyboard again. So remember, I'm playing on the harp, but I'm talking about using no sharps or flats on this. We're in C major on the harp. So we have just played a C major scale, and this is the Ionian mode, okay? So just by another name, you know, what is a rose by another name, whatever the quote is. Basically it's the same. It's just another name for the same scale, Mary. So we've also just talked about the natural minor. Well, this also has a modal name where you can call it the Aeolian mode. The Aeolian mode. Again, I'm sure you've heard of this, okay? So you already know 2 of the modes, you're already playing in them all the time, and you're playing in the other modes a lot, I'm sure, as well, but so those 2 are kind of really common, okay? So what about the other modes then? Well, then I've got my modes wheel in front of me, by the way, which is part of the modes course, which is great. And I have got a mnemonic that really divided the group to remember the order of, so I don't particularly like modes a lot, to help you remember the Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixed Lydian, Aeolian, and Locrian, Locrian. It seems different people say that differently. So anyway, if you don't like, I don't particularly like modes a lot, to remember it, you could say, I do particularly like modes a lot, but you'll probably remember it because of do and don't. Okay, so there we are. Okay, so then if we've got Ionians on C major, at the moment we're doing a C major Ionian, okay, sorry, a C Ionian. We're now going to go up by 1 string, okay, and see, is there another scale? Because on every string now, within any major scale setting that you now put on your harp, Mary, you can find 7 modes, okay? You can find the 7 modes, and if you set your levers in any major setting, you will then be able to find 7 modes within that setting, okay? So the ones I'm showing you now are not the modes, and it's not, now the next one I'm going to show you, this is not Dorian, and therefore Dorian's on D. It just happens that because we're in C major, this particular mode is beginning on a D, okay? So when we go up 1 string, we get Dorian. When we go up another string, we get our Phrygian. When we go up again, we get Lydian. When we go up again, we get Mixolydian. When we go up again, we get the Ionian that we've already talked about. And when we go up again, we get the Locrian, Locrian. Now, they all sound slightly different, don't they? I did them very fast, Mary, because as I say, I've done this huge course and lots of the ladies here have been in it. So I don't want to go on about it too much, but I just want to give you the overview. So did you hear then that I played you 7 different scales? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 starting on each note of the scale, but they're all using the same white notes of the piano at the moment, okay? So I'm just wondering where to go to next for this. Each of these modes has a different feature. So in the way that our ears have been tuned in, most of us, we've got very used to hearing major and minor, just through the music, most common music that we've listened to, I suspect. I know that may not be totally true for everyone, but so you can think of these modes as being almost like a major or minor scale, and all but one of them then only have one difference. So for instance, if we go to Dorian, there's 1 note there that sounds different from a natural minor. Okay, so if I'm just going to change 1. That now like natural minor. I'm going to go back to the C major lever setting. Okay, so what it is that the sixth is a different interval than we're used to hearing if it was just in a natural minor. So each of them, and what I've done on this modes wheel, Mary, which you can't have until it's been published, which is on the, we've got the Dorian it's a natural minor with a raised sixth. Then we're going Phrygian, which is the natural minor with the lower second, and each of these go through, you'll find there's one feature note or one different character note, whatever, and then in the natural minor you get the lowered second and the lowered fifth of the Locrian. That's the only one that has two changes, which is one of the reasons why I think historically it came last. It also has the tritone in it, the devil's tone, the devil's notes. So let's find a few. It has that in it on its fifth, which is one of the reasons it was the last one to be adopted in music writing, commonly anyway. So yeah, so Mary, then once you've got that idea of if when you're in a major scale, happening to be in C major at the moment, the fact that you can then do a scale from any of the single notes in that scale. If you then run up any, going from the same note to the same note, so I'm going to randomly pick E. That gives us one of our modes, doesn't it? If I then change the key, the same thing applies. You're going to get the same mode. So I'm now in E flat major, but I could then find Dorian, and then I could go up the harp and find the 7 different modes again, all on different starting notes. This is just like when you go on your circle of fifths and you get all the major and the minors going round, and you get all the different starting notes. It's the same then for the modes, which is what the modes wheel does. It goes through and gives you those all the different starting notes. So just like you can say, I'm going to have a scale of C sharp. Okay, that's a particularly random one because it doesn't really exist, sort of. But anyway, you can have a mode. You can pick a note and be like, okay, I want to play Dorian starting on A flat for whatever reason that might be to you. So I'm telling you that it doesn't have a fixed. It's not a fixed starting note. So Mary, I don't know whether that was really what you were after, but I hope that's just given you, because I'm sure you've studied this already with other people, but yeah, the seven modes that we use now in general, but also know that modes is a really wide topic, and it's not just these modes. The term modes is also used for like world scales. I mentioned quarter tones briefly earlier, didn't I, as well? I bought a book, didn't I, ladies, in the modes course? What was it, 242 modes? It was listed in that book. It was crazy, wasn't it? Yeah, so literally we're like scratching the surface of a thing. And also historically, I did do an overview in the course. I've only just recorded it. Ancient Greece is where the whole concept seems to have originated and been talked about by philosophers and things, and then but they didn't necessarily only have 7 notes. Some of them probably even had 13 notes. So the modes we're using now don't really relate to that, apart from the names, apart from the terminology. They were used in church, and there was the 4 main modes were taken, and then they have forgotten. Then Ionian and Aeolian was added, and then the Locrian. Do you remember I mentioned about the devil's fifth, the tritone notes interval, the diminished fifth, the augmented fourth. So they got added throughout history, and then like when I went into it, it's like this rabbit hole of like what mode was used where and which one was called what and yada yada, because it was all written, it wasn't joined up. It wasn't one person's deciding this is how modes are going to be and this is how we're going to use them. It was happening all over by that point, or even just in different regions. There was no internet and things, was there? It's very common. No ways of you have to travel and take your papers to be looked at by someone else. So yeah, so it's really fascinating, Mary, as well. So it's a great big subject, but it's in its simplest form, as far as I'm concerned. In its simplest form, you can pick a scale, pick one of the modes, and it makes a beautiful place to write a piece from or to improvise in. And it's interesting to know about them because it can help you when you're playing, like, listening to an orchestral piece or a pop song or a traditional tune that's using a mode. It just helps out your ear be tuned into it, straight into it, I think, if you're familiar with them, and to be able to play them more without thinking, gosh, that note sounds strange, or this is a bit quirky sounding. I think familiarity just helps it all feel easier. So yeah, I hope that helps, Mary. Anybody here want to add anything? I don't play loud music after lunch. Jane? I like okay, right. Yes, okay, I'm annoyed. I'm like, I don't quite know how to comment about this. Like, great, good on you. No, okay, right. That's a brilliant mnemonic. I love it. Yes, I don't play loud music after lunch. That's lovely. Ethna says, speaking of modes, is there a playthrough of Lakeside Blossom anywhere? I just found the recording where you're teaching it, not playing it through. I'd love to know what it sounded like. So this is the one that's the one that just come out. I can't remember. No, it's not. No, that's going to come in week 4. The Ethna, I'm patching in all the things I didn't do last term as we go through, so it will arrive this term. So not yet, and I didn't record it, did I? On the CD. That's one of the ones I didn't record. So, hi. Are you coming to speak to me? No, you're not. Okay. So the answer is there will be one, but it doesn't exist yet. I keep thinking I'm going to sit down and do all 7 in a row, but that's not the way it's working out. So I think I'm just going
No,
to.
I was just looking. It's in the Lydian. It's the next
it's in
week.
4th or something, isn't it?
No, it's the 3rd one.
It's the 3rd week, is it? Okay, fine. Oh, it's the 4th in the scale of the 3rd week. Yes. Okay. So
Yes.
yeah, it'll turn up with the next bit.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Brilliant. Fantastic. Okay. Right, carrying on then. So I've done the question from Pam, and I've done the question from Mary, and I've done the question from Jill. There was another question, I've hidden it somewhere. Tips on turning going up, Sue. Right, okay, brilliant. So I'm in E flat, I'm going to stay there. Although you're probably in C, so I'll go into C because you're probably in C. Okay, right, fine. So yeah, so this is a great question, which I think we can all benefit from doing this from time to time as well. Even so, this is like a good like MOT check on our scales, guys. Okay, so when we're playing scales, you know, depending on which fingering you've been taught, you know, a lot of us do 4. I'm sorry, I'm now going back to C. C now this time, Shelley. Okay, so we're doing C. I was taught, and so I'm not even sure I was taught this way, but this is the way I do. I always do 4s on the first octave, then 3s, 4s, 3s, 4s to indefinite, and then I come back down 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3. Sorry, 4, 4 when I finish the last octave. So 4, 4 in the bottom octave, and then 3 4s, 3 4s, 3 4s all the way up. I have been told that some people do it the other way, and they do 4s, 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 and then fill out with 3, because that way you don't have to think. You can just do 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, and then just do what's left over at the top, and then come back down. So it depends what works for your brain. Jill's like, no. Okay, so the reason that I don't, just so you know why I picked this way, and whether I was brainwashed with it or chose, I'm not 100% sure, but brainwashed in a good way, I'm sure. Is because when you do the first octave in C, for instance, my 3rd finger is on a D, my 2nd finger is on an E, and my thumb is on an F. This isn't what you asked me, Sue, but this is just a bugbear I have, so I'm just going to say. Okay, so you do 4 3 2 1, and you've got that 3 on the D, 2 on the E, and thumb on the F. Okay, when I come up again, if I then turn and put 3 2 1 on, then I've now got 3 on the D, 2 on the E, and thumb on the F. I've got consistency on which notes I'm going on. So for that, it helps my brain. And also, if I'm trying to route my brain into a route to seeing the tonic, I know that the thumb is always going to hit the tonic as well, which I think, I'm not sure if it does when you do it the other way. Maybe it does actually. No, it doesn't. Yeah, so the thumb always hits the tonic. So it just helps my brain. It helps me staying on the scale. So there is a slight reason I'm talking about this. So we have to learn to turn between 4 and 3 comfortably, don't we, for a scale, basically? Okay, whichever one of those options you do, it's just that you do more turns to 3 in the way I'm talking about. So I think, yeah, that's true. Okay, so Sue's specific question is a great one. It's rather than just, you know, I think you said something like, apart from endlessly playing scales, how can I practice my turn? I think that was what you were saying, or how can I practice getting it more comfortable? So, Sue, I think we did this in Startup at some point. So forgive me, I'm going to go over something again, but I'm going to add to it hopefully as well. So if we're doing just 1 octave now, if we just go think to 1 octave for a moment, when we turn, okay, we're going 1 to 4, aren't we? And then we're going to come back down, and then we're going to go 4 to 1. Okay. So when we're doing that, that's the turn that we're actually practicing is this bit here, isn't it? Between thumb and 4. So thumb is on the F, isn't it, in C, and the 4 is going to be on the G. So that's the thing. That's the thing. So how are we going to practice the thing that can be challenging, without just doing endless scales? Well, you can strip it right back to just that. Okay, this is a brain teaser though, everyone. So just be careful with this one. You're going to get your 4 on your thumb, or if you were practicing the second turn, that could happen on the higher octaves, the 3rd and the thumb. But for this, we're going to do 4 and thumb, and the thumb has to be on the lower string, doesn't it? And the 4th has to be on the string above it. Okay. This is the brain teaser, because you kind of want to go like that, because we're always putting things in order, but this is not. We're literally crossing them over. Okay. And then, to start with, you can just really have a think about your posture and your thumb position and your finger forward and your finger position, because this is almost where like all the things that we bang on about all the time come into like being like absolutely the most important thing. Because if you have your thumb down, there's no space to turn. If you have your fourth finger up, oh my goodness me, there's even less space to turn, and now I'm all wobbly. If you've got bunny ears, how do you place these fingers now? What on earth are you gonna, I see people sort of having to do this and things when they're trying to turn. So this is where you can just spend a moment to reflect on high thumb playing on the edge, ready to take its bow, ready to be all powerful on its own. It does not need the four to do that. Okay, you don't want it to need the four to do that. You want to, so you can even practice just having the four. We've talked about that hover, land, and then squeeze. If you have it in the land position, so there's no pressure on here, so you're not relying on it in any way, and you're just practicing playing that thumb totally confidently. That's great. And the same with the four. Then you want the four to be able to play totally confidently without having to rely on anyone else. So have the thumb resting but not pushing, to just check in on that. Okay, so you've checked in now on your hand position, your posture, your everything there, and then you can just literally practice rocking between these two. Okay, so you're really practicing that and checking that you're not holding tension in your shoulder. I can feel that I am, so I'm just going to adjust myself now. That's better. Okay, and then check in with your wrist and check there's no tension in your wrist as well, because if you're tense, this is going to be really, really hard, and you're going to slip off, make funny noises as well. Okay, so, and then maybe try playing it very softly, because that will also show up. If you can play it controlledly soft, you can probably also then add in a loud, a forte as well. Okay, so that's one thing that you can do. If you wanted to be really mean with yourself, Sue, you could also practice doing that, because some of you that I'm obsessed with this kind of thing is doing things like hum, tea, dum, tea, hum, tea, dum, tea. So, or 1 E under, 2 E under, 3 E under, 4 E under, and then stop it to go 1 E under, 2 E under, 3 E under, 4 E under. Why? Because this is like ultimate control, just to that pivotal moment. Okay, once you've got so that's one thing. I wouldn't do that loads and loads, because it is a precarious, slightly awkward position, so you've got to check in with your muscles and everything, that everything's okay. Don't know what that was. Notification that should come up. Right, okay, so now if we are going to extend that, I think this is the bit we did do in Start Harp. You could do the skeleton scale. This came from Val. Thank you, Val. So this is where, instead of putting all 4 fingers on, you're going to do the outside bits of the scale. So you're going to go 4, thumb, 4, thumb, 4, thumb, 4. So we're just not using these two, which is great, because it means we're also practicing not having bunny ears or not having tension. So we're just going to then go C, F, G, C, G, F, C. You can make that smaller by just doing that bit. So you can do the C, F, G, F, C, because in some ways you don't need the top note, but by adding in the top note, you're practicing the fact that you then have to open your hand out as well. Okay, and then you can put those into rhythms, and you can even go, oh, hang on, I've forgotten how to do this now. Just for fun, you can turn it into a little you have to remember the order though. Okay, so you can turn it into a little bass line you might recognize from Greece. Okay, so right, then another thing you can do, I'm just trying to think. Okay, so the other thing that I often get people to do is this. So this is where you're like half putting in silent practice. So you can do 4, 3, 2, 1, grab. 4, 3, 2, 1, grab. So then you're really working on that 4-finger block place, okay? Grab. And then conversely, grab. You got the idea? And just like any of the other places where we've done, in the Fair Play Harp School, where we've done things like the everyday exercises, where we've done and snippet practice and loop practice and things like that. What you're doing is you're taking out tiny, you're looking, aren't you, Steve, for working on just the thing that is the challenge, so that then when you put back the whole scales, hopefully these will just glide from your hand. So I think that's probably the the things that I've got ready to give you. I mean, putting any of them into rhythms is good. I'm sure there are other things as well, but those are the ones that are springing to mind now. Does that give you something to try that you have not yet tried, at least? Or have you tried all of that already?
No, it's good. It's good to go back and do stuff like that. It's really good. I think one of the things I do is you said that, playing on the edge. I think I probably put too much of my pad onto the strings and then getting them off. And
okay.
Because I do have a problem with nail catching and things, particularly in the left. And I think if I get more precise at landing, but more on the edge of the pad, that might help. So I think there's some, and with focusing on the handlebar thing and getting on, it brings it more onto the edge. And so I think because when I'm having to record things or whatever, my hands close up, and so I think focusing on that for a bit probably would be really good.
Really helpful. Okay, brilliant. And you just mentioned that playing on the edge thing. I was always taught to play on the edge of the thumb, but I noticed that over the years I use a lot more of my thumb in different places, and I've now heard other teachers talk about using different amounts of flesh and skin, to try and get different tones. So whilst I'm just mentioning that now. So whilst it's a great, it's definitely brilliant for turns and things. When you are thinking melodically, sometimes you do need. I think you need a bit more of the thumb and a bit more welly. So you can have that in your mind as well. It's not a bad thing, I now think, but again, it's just something I'm still sort of exploring in a way. But it's something I've realized that through teaching the pop course, I realized that I use my fingers very differently than I was taught in order to make melody come through in a different way. So yeah, but yes, sorry. So what I'm saying is that what you're doing might be brilliant for the melodies that you're playing, but when you want to do a good turn, yes, I always go back to just using the edge of my thumb. So yeah. Brilliant. And you will with the nails, if I may just say one other thing, if you've got nails catching, just also check, I know that you're cutting them short, I'm sure you are, but remember it's actually only one tiny bit of the nail that often catches on this side, isn't it? So you could try just experiment, just nail file. I don't really ever use nail files, I don't, but people do. So you could file down that side of your nails, couldn't you, and just see if it might help. Might be worth a try.
I wish it was that subtle. I think it's the whole thing colliding, but I'll get there.
Okay. If it's the whole thing colliding, just
only the left. The right's fine. The left just going well.
Okay. So have a look at do you ever practice with the mirror or a tablet here so you can see?
Yeah.
You do. Okay. Just spend some time looking at your. I'm going to demo this with the right because you can't see my left, which is the problem that we all have. Okay. So have a look at when you do something, if you're overshoot, if you might be coming out further than you need to, which again is sort of okay to do that a bit, but if you're going to do that, just make sure that you're clear like by 0.5 centimeter or even like 3 millimeters until you've got your hover in exactly the right position. So if you are going to overshoot, then just allow it to make sure that you're doing it away from the strings, and then when you commit that you won't catch the nail. But obviously in an ideal world, then you're going to air create the shape, aren't you, and then land so that you don't even
I need to work on that.
Well, whatever. It's harder down here because of the wires as well, isn't it? So we all buzz more on the wires, and I am a self-proclaimed buzzy player, so some people really really work on all these things, and I'm a bit naughty about it really. So what am I trying to say by that? I don't know. Don't do as I do. No, I'm trying to say don't give yourself too much of a hard time. There are other people out there that buzz as well. Okay. Okay, fine.
Thanks very much.
Brilliant. Marvelous. Okay. I think I have done all the questions that I had come in. So do you guys want to chat? Is there anything else that's come up, or do you want me to show you these exercises? Or do you want me to come around and say hi to everyone?
Melissa's got a hand up.
Oh, Melissa, where are you? Oh, Melissa, you have. Melissa, I can't see or hear you. Yeah, hi, Melissa. Oh, go for it. Sorry. Hi.
How are you doing?
Very good. How are you doing?
I'm great. And so can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
I'd love to see those exercises you're going to show later too.
Okay.
But what you were just talking about, I try to cover that, but I have a hell of a time with the turn as far as just feeling totally awkward.
Okay.
And so this is where I have a problem. Is this fourth finger? I just feel awkward here, and I can't do it fast.
Okay.
And so I'll do that thumb, and this is like bent a funny way, and my wrist is funny, and the left hand's even worse.
Okay. So did you hear me talk about doing that skeleton scale idea? Actually, Sue, I missed out one of my
Yep.
favorite things to practice. This is what I'm going to get. This is so brilliant you've asked this question, because Sue, I missed out something I wish I'd said, and now I'm going to show Melissa, and then you'll get to see it too. So, okay, Melissa, put your
Great.
finger on C and your thumb on F for me, please.
Okay.
Out the other two fingers. Okay. Now make sure that you are make sure, that's not a very helpful thing. Check in with your fingers, your 2 and your 3, that they're not tight. So just check in that they're
Okay.
relaxed. Okay. Check in that your tendons down the back of your hand aren't tight while you've got these 2 fingers relaxed in. Because one of the things that I used to do a lot was tighten my hand, and that would make, if you're tight, if you're tense, then these are awful if you're tense. Okay. So okay, brilliant. So you've now got the 4 and the thumb on. Now in a moment, I'm going to get you to take the 4 off again, but don't for a second. So just hold on to it for a moment. With the thumb, here's another vital thing I think I missed for ages. Well, I think it's vital. I think it'd be useful for you, I hope anyway. I used to think I had to hold my thumb on the string and then and not move the thumb and then get the 4 underneath. So I'd kind of like contort my wrist and twist it. Okay. But here's the thing.
Right.
Pendulum. Okay. Think of it like this, like, you know, the grandfather's clock with the tick-tock underneath. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the 4 doing like the tick-tock and this being the top of the pendulum. So allow the string to move under your thumb. So just try having your thumb on and allow them to do this against each other. Okay. So the thumb is moving. I mean, the string is moving, but allow the thumb to be moving against the string rather than trying to do this and keep the thumb put. You're trying to allow the thumb to move. Okay. How does that feel? Can you get that to happen?
Yeah. That's,
okay. So now I want you to go back to the 4 and the thumb 4 placed. Okay. And this time I'm going to ask you to leave the thumb on. You're not going to play the thumb. The thumb is going to not play. Okay. But you're going to play the 4. See, this is the bit I missed for you as well. And you're going to do the pendulum underneath, allowing the string to move under the thumb. And then you're going to play the G. And then you're going to come back and you're going to do the 4. And then you're going to do the G. Sorry, the C and the G. And the C and the G. And I noticed that I'm moving my elbow. I'm actually leading slightly from my elbow with this, which I don't think I've really done. Just slightly. Okay. So practice just that. Okay.
So don't be afraid to bend the string where the thumb is.
Yeah.
You can bend that string.
Don't be afraid to let the thumb move against the string. To feel the thumb.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Yeah. So I always thought I know that I had a long time where I was kind of contorting my wrist and stuff to compensate for the fact I was like, hang on with your thumb, hang on. But then when I was like, no, actually, you know, you don't need to. I think I was taught this. I don't think I came up with this myself. But you know, it just seems to make a difference. And you're not going to be moving loads with the thumb, but just giving yourself permission that it's okay to allow them to make that slight movement against the string seems to make quite a big difference. Okay, so then that
is a big difference.
Cool. Okay, so practice that and practice moving the 2, maybe allowing the elbow to move a bit when you're doing that, to lead from the elbow. And why am I saying that? Because otherwise, if we don't move the elbow at all, then again you're going to start doing things with the wrist, and I teach about the flat wrist, don't I? Which isn't necessarily everyone's thing, but okay. And then when you've done that, then you can come in and try doing the C, F, G, F, C. Okay. So just not finger 2 and 3 though. So keep finger 2 and 3 out of the game for a minute. You're just going to go C, F, G, D, F, G.
I'm sorry, I got you now.
Yeah. So can you see how imperceptible that movement is? Now you're actually playing the notes. That tiny little thumb against the string, but it does seem to make a big difference. Yeah.
That's major. That's major.
Okay, cool, brilliant, awesome. Okay, that's amazing.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much. Wow.
All the things that I've just talked about with Sue, then I think you know that will really help. And Sue, did you just try that? How was that good for you too? That was probably the missing link. I'm so happy Melissa also asked, because particularly in the left, I think you know, again, you can't see my left, but you know, going from there, if you try and keep the thumb still, that everything tenses up.
Yeah. Yep.
But if I allow that tiny, almost imperceptible, I mean, does it look different? I'm curious. Actually.
It does look different. It does look different because I'm trying to do all this with my hand, and
a bit different.
This 4th finger, I'm trying to bend it, and it's just awkward.
Yeah.
So that's what it was all the time.
And it looks like it was good for Sue as well. Brilliant. Fantastic. Exciting. And Ethna says the pivot trick works so well for that. Cool. You've done that before with me or with someone else, Ethna, I think, haven't you? Yeah, bravo. Fantastic. With me. Oh, cool. Okay, brilliant. Fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you.
Lovely. Okay. Right then. Any other questions, guys? And
One more question.
After, yes, Ethna's, oh yes, we worked on this together, right? It's coming back to me now. So yeah, the other thing was for Ethna, was when you do that, was putting the whole group of 4 down, wasn't it? Is that what you mean, Ethna? Yeah. So when you've done your first half of the scale, you allow the pivot thing to happen, or the anyway, and then place all 4. So in one go, so group placing. And I realized, as I've said this, I'm being very consistent tonight, sorry guys, but when you come down, drawing a rainbow, so I've talked about allowing the thumb to move. When you come down, allow the 4th to be allowed, give it permission to also move, and you're drawing a rainbow sort of arch with the thumb. Again, it's going to be micro when you actually do it, but the thumb is kind of doing a rainbow shape, okay? And you're allowing the 4th does not have to stay exactly rooted where it is. You don't have to add tension in there, just allow a freedom of movement when you get there, and also allow the elbow to not, you don't have to stay still with the elbow as well. Allow the elbow to help you. Being opposite the strings, actually, God, this is such a huge topic, actually, isn't it? Being opposite the strings, really getting opposite the strings as well. So what I mean by that, rather than turning and then keeping your hand there and then ending up with your fingers kind of out straight, allow your hand to follow yourself. Try and keep centered. Some of you heard me talk about that before, keeping the hand centered over the middle of what you're doing. If it was a big chord, then you're going to still try and be centered. You're not going to try and be to one side. Can you see me? Yeah. You're going to try and stay centered over what you're doing, and the same with the scales. So when you're turning, the center point is changing dramatically rather fast, isn't it? So there is a movement to be made. So yeah, have that in your mind too. I'm sure there's about a million other things now. It's amazing. And what's amazing about this is scales and arpeggios. We get told over and over again, we must do our scales and arpeggios, and why? But because if we can finesse all these things when we're doing our scales and arpeggios, then when they happen in the pieces, they are much easier for us, aren't they? So it's just ironing out all these things. But these are big, these are big things, aren't they? They're big things. They're big technique things to work on. Brilliant. Okay. Would you like to look at some little exercises? You would. Okay, right. Okay. So Pat, who many of you know Pat, we've met Pat. She came to me the other day and said that she really wants to work on her speed. Okay, so she wants to work on improving flow and speed. Now this is often once we get to about I don't know, grade sort of 4 or 5 level in our playing, which many of you are at or have gone past, this becomes like one of the golden sort of things, isn't it? It becomes something that we're looking for, that we're seeking. And so we sat down and we've written out a set of exercises that are specific in a way to Pat's request, but I just felt they might be quite useful for everyone. And I've checked with Pat, she's happy for me to share them as well, and I had the page open. Let me just find it. It's definitely here. There it is. Okay, I'm going to make one addition. I'm happy to share the copy with you, but I've got an edit to make. Okay, so this is what they look like. Whoa. Okay, so it's the idea is it's a 20-minute thing that she could do once a day, is like a drill, which Ethna, I think, is one of the things you and I you've talked to about me wanting. Yeah, I think probably that was why I was like, right, we're going to do a drill for you. So anyway, one of the things that Pat said to me, sorry Pat, I hope you don't mind me, I said I was going to share the exercise. I didn't say I was going to tell everyone your life story. Anyway, Pat, like a lot of us, said, well, her left hand doesn't feel as strong as her right. Everyone here, how many of you, your left doesn't feel as strong as your right? Give me a hand up if you think your left isn't as strong as your right. Right, okay, so most of us probably, if not all of us here. Okay, every now and then someone's like the other way around, but mostly. So what this does is actually, it just starts, and we can shrink this back for those of you who are not, who are more fledgling, who are not quite so ready for all these octaves. It starts just with the left doing a 3-octave scale. And the purpose of this is just so that you've got time. Oh, look, you got time to think about, I'm in the wrong key for this, it's an E flat. You've got time to think about your hand position and your turns, and really work on your even tone as well. So it's just, the first one's to tune your ear in, and also to work on your posture and everything with the left. It then joins in, so I'll explain them through now, and then I'll send them to you after the class when I've done the edit. Then, and you can try them now live if you want to as well, but I'm not going to play them all through really steady because it will take ages and ages. All right, well, see where you go. I can if you want to as well. Okay, so then what happens is that it comes in and the left, so we're going through this exercise drill of coming down the E flat scale. And then when you get to the bottom, the right has to join in, okay? So it feels very awkward, but just telling you, this is like a really important moment deliberately there. It's so that you practice the down and the up and then the joining in. Okay, so it looks like I've just gone into a weird place. I haven't. It's on purpose. Okay, don't be too worried about these ledger lines. They're just an octave apart. Okay, so I could have written that in a nicer way, but it's just I did it quite quickly. So okay, and then it comes down and it goes into one of our favorites, Ethno. It comes into the staggered scale. You've done this. Well, loads of you have done this. Yeah. So this really helps us with our control, doesn't it? It's like Jedi mind tricks now on our hands, isn't it? We're like, you will play when I want to. So those are the stagger scales. So again, it's just a 3-octave scale, which of course you can strip back to 1 octave. Those of you who are more fledgling, and we're just going left, right, 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 left, right. I mean, the thing is with working on speed and agility is that it all comes, it's everything, isn't it? It's our technique. It's literally, I mean, it's just everything. But this one is in particular just to work on really being totally in control of your fingertips, because it's quite a good trick for that. We then went into one of my other favorite ways of working on speed. And I'm sure, I mean, these could be very long. I tried to make it so it lasts 20 minutes. These then go through crotchets, quavers, semi-quavers. So you're going tea, coffee, cappuccino, tea. So you're getting a slow, something that's 1 per beat. You know, if you have 4 beats going, you're getting a 1 to the beat, then you're getting 2, 4, 1. So you're practicing, speeding up within the space of 1 bar, aren't you? But you're getting some time off for good behavior. If you've got a heart with you, you're welcome to try this straight away. But it's just doing the scale, the 1 octave scale. And please, if you're working on your turns and things, it's not about how fast you do these. It's about getting the slower ones in relation to the faster ones. Sorry, I didn't say them in quarter note, 8th note, 16th notes, isn't it? So, if you go tea, coffee, cappuccino, tea, great. You're still practicing a slow one, slightly faster, much faster than slow, aren't you? So it's just the relationship between them. But we're not overwhelming ourselves by going, right, now you've done your quaver scales, I want you to do your really fast ones. We're doing in a halfway house. And we're only doing them ascending there on purpose as well, so that you're not having to worry about placing to come back down. I've put them in 6 to make them sound pretty, but you wouldn't have to. So if you want to, you can do these in octaves, but they're in 6. Then we've got it coming down. Tea, coffee, cappuccino, tea. And then you're going, you just keep going around on those 4. I think I've given you 8 of them. Okay, so here's another one of my favorite things for practicing, working on our speed. Again, I'm sure many of you have heard me talk about all this stuff before, but doing these dotted rhythms. So when you're doing something like this, when you're going 1 eander, 2 eander, 3 eander, 4 eander, just like we were doing in the exercise above, where we were doing something slow, then faster, then faster again, if you like, per beat. This, when you're doing it this way around, and you're going 1 eander, 2 eander, you're going long, short, long, short, long. And so the gaps, rather than just trying to go speed up your scale, you're doing half the scale fast, aren't you, if you think about it? Because the gap between this 16th note and this dotted 8th note, or this semi-quaver into the dotted quaver, is a tiny gap, isn't it? But the gap between the dotted quaver into the semi-quaver, so the dotted 8th note into the semi-quaver, is bigger. So you're giving yourself, your brain and your fingers, a bit of time off, but you're still practicing getting faster. And sometimes it will land where the turn is awkward, where you're having to turn on the faster gap, or you might not have to turn on the faster gap, depending where it lies. And you'll notice, so if you do try these, the goal with them is that they don't, I've deliberately written them so that the starting note changes. So can you see the starting note's on beat 1, there it's on beat 4, there it's on beat 3, there it's on beat 2, so that the accenting, if you did it with accenting as well, would change, but also just so that the feel of it changes. So you've got 1 e hum, t dum, t 1 e and sorry, I counted that wrongly. 1 e and 2 e and 3 e and 4 e and 1 e and 2 e and 3 e and 4. Then if you switch it round and do it the other way round with the clip clop, so clip clop, which is 1 e and 2 e and we switched it round, haven't we? So instead of the long gap being after the E and the short gap being after the F, in this version, same scale, short gap after the E, long gap after the F. So then you're going to get this 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a... Okay, and then it's going, I'm actually taking you back into the same scale, again with the beat changing. So by the time you've done those both, arguably you've practiced going from E to F quickly, haven't you? And you practiced going from F to G quickly, and you practiced going from G to A quickly, and you practiced going from A to B quickly. So you practiced half the scale fast, half the scale slow, and then you switched it round. So it's all working towards being able to play faster, but it's also just making us very disciplined with our control. Just a word of warning, it's very easy, particularly if you think of my Humpty Dumpty, to fall into, it's not ideal. I always reflect on changing this. It was the way I was taught, but so Humpty Dumpty, we have to remember it's that 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Humpty Dumpty, really we think Humpty Dumpty, Humpty Dumpty. So be really careful, it has to be Humpty Dumpty, Humpty Dumpty, hum, and clip clop, clip clop, clip clop. Just be careful it lands with the 1 and the for Humpty and the 1 and the E for clip clop. So you are truly getting what I've just explained, the half the scale fast, half of it slow, and then switching it around. Okay, then, I hope this isn't boring you all. I hope some of you are excited about trying these, I hope. Okay, then it does the arpeggios, does exactly the same thing with arpeggios. So I've just gone in and done it with, so the left hand on its own, over 3 octaves, doing the arpeggios on its own. Then the right's gonna join in at the bottom there. Then you're gonna go to staggered. So it's just like the scales were, okay? It does left on its own, hands together, staggered. And then this is the bit I'm going to edit because this was evil. I'm going to put in a beat 4 here so you get time off. You're going to go tea, coffee, cappuccino, rest. Tea, coffee, cappuccino, rest. So that you're getting this slow, slightly faster, even faster within each beat. So you're practicing speeding up that way. And then in reverse, so top down. And then just like we did with the scales, you've got the Humpty Dumpty, Humpty Dumpties, and the clip clop, clip clop, clip clop, clip clops going on. So these are untested, Speedy Pat. She said that I have to put a subtitle saying a work in progress underneath. And this is the idea with this is that you would then modulate it. So you'd get it. These are all exercises I've given people over the years. Like I've written them down, but I've never type them out, if that makes sense. I like say play the scale in this rhythm, like so if you want to try it, the idea is that you would just revisit it every day, and once you got really comfortable in your skin doing it, then you wouldn't just do an E flat, you try it, you go, right, today I'm going to do that exercise in F, so I do 1 octave with the left, then I join in, then I do my staggered, then I do my half tea, coffees, cappuccinos, then I do my Humpty Dumpties, then I do my clip clops, and just trying it in a cycle like that. Because as I say, they're all things I've given to people over the years. I mean, the only thing I've missed, though there's loads of things I missed out, of course there are, but one of the only major other thing that I do with people when we're really working on speed is the metronome thing, which in Metronome Magic, lots of you have taken that immersion. You know, there's loads of tips in that about how to work on speed as well with the metronome, which often, and of course, all those scales are going to be done with the metronome too. You know, just in relationship, in reference to kind of doing a scale and doing one per click and then speeding up the metronome. That's the other thing, isn't it? 1 click at a time. You just start it slow, speed it up, get to a place that you are not falling off the scale, then give yourself a break till the next day, come back in under tempo, do it slowly, and then, you know, gradually work up your tempo again. And what usually happens over time, if you do that reliably over and over and over, is that eventually your end, the tempo you can get to at the end of your warm up is faster, you know, than it was when you first started. So if you do try that, write down the tempo that you can get to, your fastest tempo you can get to beautifully. At the beginning, you know, when you start this as an idea, and then document it so that, you know, in a month's time you go, oh, I was only getting to like 80, but now I can get to 100, you know, and so that you can self-check in with yourself and be pleased, because we don't notice subtle changes of our own, do we? Very often. So that's a good way to keep tabs on yourself. Brilliant. What do you think? Any questions on that? Anybody want to ask me anything? Or you could glide there. I've just read that. So I'm going to ask what that means, Ethna. Did I miss that?
Oh, that was, I was just saying that when you were mentioning adding an extra quarter rest at the end of the last exercise, you.
It doesn't really mean to go da 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 dum, because the placing has to be so speedy. I felt really mean. I mean, of course it's good for us. Any of these things are good for us, but it just felt a bit mean. But so yeah, I will add the rest. But if you feel like the extra challenge, ladies, then you're
Because it goes up to scale, yeah.
that one, the one
Does
I
it go
meant,
up this?
the one with
Yeah,
the
does.
let's have a look. It was this one. Dum da da dee da da da. There's just no time there.
Oh, it just keeps going the same thing.
Yeah, it
I
was
see.
evil of me. It was just
I thought it went up, went up to the next note. So it
no,
doesn't.
one doesn't know. It's because it's a repeated notes and hard not to buzz on it. It's just unnecessarily hard for
Yeah.
the goal of this particular sheet. You know, I just think it's an unnecessary evil in there. Okay, anyone want to give any feedback on that, or anything that you wish was there that isn't, or shall I send them out? I think I'm just going to send them out to everybody, and then yeah, okay, and then you can ignore them or try them, whatever you think. And if they work or if they don't work, let me know. Let me know, because they are as a written out exercise like that, they are untested. So yeah, cool. It's a freebie to you. Okay.
Thank you.
Would you like to? Shall we have some free chat now? Do you want to chat without me here? What do you ladies like to do?
I have to go, actually.
You have to go. That's fine. Okay, then.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else anyone wants to ask me then? Okay, Jean. Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Melissa.
Sorry. Oh, are you sure, Jean? Okay. All right, Melissa.
No, you can go ahead. Jean, you can go first.
I was just going to make the comment that
Okay,
I loved the song in I guess Flourishing Harpist with your husband playing the French horn.
Oh yes. Oh, brilliant.
That was so. Yeah,
Oh, I'm so glad. I shall tell Richard. Yes. we every week
What was that?
every time it comes up, we always laugh because we literally I wanted it to be in one take, so it was totally honest as well of us trying it and it being like, you know, a genuine rehearsal experience to watch. But which of course feels like a massive overshare. But anyway, I did it for the reasons that I did it. But we finished, and the baby monitor Sebastian went off, and it was like, well, that is it then. That's it. We're done. It's got to be sent like that.
Oh,
We're
wow.
not doing that again.
What was that? I missed that. What was that? Was on Flourishing Harpist?
Yeah, is it? It Takes Two. No, it's not. It Takes Two to Tango. I can't remember which one it is. It's the one about playing with other musicians. What's it called?
Ah,
Jean, I can't remember.
I know
the name of the week. I should remember the name of the week.
Pop with Pizzazz.
It's in Flourishing Harpists.
Oh, okay.
I just can't remember the name of the actual. So just so you can find it. I can't remember the name of the week.
Sorry, it's Fallen Sky.
Fallen Sky, brilliant.
Okay.
So that's the name of the piece. Oh, it literally looks like I called it duo and ensemble. It's not very exciting, is it? But it's that week, so yeah. I'll see if I can find you a link now, Melissa. Fallen Sky, yes, it has lots of sort of overhanging harmony in it, doesn't it? It feels
Nice.
like it's very much a GCSE composition, but I try not to think about it too much. But it's there for a reason.
And the exercises.
Yeah.
And the exercises you're going to send everybody, right?
Yeah, I actually think I send them out to everyone at all levels on Patreon, just as a little thing, because I can do that. So.
Okay, great. And then a quick question, and I followed the instructions, but I know I did something wrong. And so this is a redundant question, and I'm sorry about this. But when you record one of the sessions live, how do you play the replay?
Oh, how do you find the replay? Okay, so
Right.
I tell you what, Jill, I will do this by going into the one that you found that doesn't work, because then I can check it, can't I? Okay, so I'll go into a course and find it for you. So it was the immersion you just said to me, wasn't it, Jill? The latest immersion. Time for left hand. No, it's not that one. Oh, I'm not going to be able to find it now. I shouldn't be doing this with the screen on. You'll be like, how many courses have you done? Play Your Harp, I Have No Fear. It was that one, wasn't it? Okay, so going into this. So it depends. It does depend on the course, Melissa. So actually, this probably isn't a brilliant one. But look, this one has a button that says replay. I'll show it to you. This is at the moment just seeing it from my end. I'll have to show you properly then, actually. So look, hang on a minute. Let me go back to the lessons button. That's the best way. So lessons button is always a great way of finding things, Melissa, in the course. And on this particular one, it says replay. And so you'd go onto that one and then you press play.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the Star Harp on Sunday, how do you find the video for that, the replay for that?
Okay, so that one, Jill, I can see I did do the thing you said. It's not recorded after, because it's only an hour, without even testing it, it's an hour and 4 minutes, and it was a 2-hour session. Oh, right, okay, well, I've got it. she says, I mean, this is my backup recording, so fingers crossed I have got it. But I don't. There wasn't an oh my goodness me moment, although obviously there was, but I didn't notice it. Okay, anyway, right. So Melissa, if you were in Start Harp or any of the other courses, usually it's section D of the of the bigger, longer courses that you go to find the replays. So if I go into week 1, and I'll go into your end of the course, not the back end of the course, so you can see it like it looks. I often go to the lessons tab because then you get a full list. It's easy to find your way around. At the beginning, they number things, but I have a pre-course thing like A, B, C, D, and in section D, it's where you get the live meeting details and the replays. Okay, and so what was it last night? It was 2 of 6, wasn't it? So homework.
Yes. And there was no choice option to replay it. That option wasn't there, unless I could have overlooked it though.
Hello and good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome. This is good afternoon, good morning. Okay.
Yeah, there was. Okay.
Yeah, so just sometimes you have to refresh your page, don't you? I don't quite understand, but is it that you just do a reload? So if for some reason you'd had the page open to get the meeting link, Melissa, and then you went straight back to catch the replay won't be there until you refresh the page. So, but that can be as simple as literally clicking on the top.
How do you refresh the page?
Well,
you say you hit.
Yeah, for me, I would just click on the web address and then press return. And for me, that would reload the page. So that could be what happened to you, or it may just have been. It probably wasn't up until like 12:30, half midnight my time last night. So it may just not have been there when you looked.
And there was the final project from the past course.
Yeah,
you said it would be on Facebook. How do I get that one?
Now this one
on Facebook.
This one is living on my desktop still because I haven't got your segment in because the recording dipped out so much, and I've been meaning to talk to you about it because I can either put you in with the dipping out recording, or you could resubmit because you now know how to upload. Because you can do that now. Or
you mean
yeah, so the recording we did in the session, do you remember we did it live, and it just
right
stream properly, it's just not, it doesn't flow. So but I could
I
haven't been able to add you in basically, so that's why I haven't put it up anywhere because I was so sad. You can either resubmit now because you've been doing lovely uploads now, haven't you? So you could do that. Or I can put in what I was going to do and was put in a still image of you because I've got some lovely stills of you from that day, but the full thing doesn't flow. So maybe we can chat about that. But,
so it doesn't play at all. Nothing plays on it. It's just a still image.
It's just really stilted. So you can. This is everyone here. So they're all in. It's all lined up in there. But because I haven't added you in, I haven't sent it anywhere yet. So sorry, everybody who was in level 3. That's why I haven't managed to get around to it because I needed to talk to Melissa. So Melissa's brought it up. So Melissa, if you want to resubmit if you've got the recording on your phone, you can now upload it anyway. So if it's there, then you can just put it in the class. And if not, I can put in the still image we can go from there.
Yeah, put in the still image. I'm just curious to how it looked and what it looked like. I'm just curious.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, if you're happy with that, I'll do that.
I'm fine with that.
That's on my desktop at the moment, waiting for me to do something about it. Okay.
Okay, great.
Brilliant. Okay. Anyone else want to say anything else? Anyone wants to tell us something really exciting that's happened to them harp world-wise this week? Go on, it's always nice. Let's end on something really exciting and positive. Anything you've done or practiced or really enjoyed or loved on your harp this week that you want to share? Any aha moments? I think Melissa had an aha.
I love this.
Oh, you've been loving it.
Yeah.
Okay,
I love it. Love it. Love it so much. I made 2 of them.
No, one's pink. I love that it's pink.
One of my favorite colors. Yep. I'm just geeking out on it. I just love this type of old-fashioned gadgets.
Yep. Brilliant. There you go. Anyone else? Jane's got her hand up. Yes, Jane. Hi.
Yeah, I had an aha moment because of Melissa.
Okay.
And I've been thinking for a while, do I have different kinds of hands than other people? And I think there are some of us that have long fingers that just think, those are always in the way. And there may be others of you that don't have as long fingers and are having completely different problems when you play.
So you mean you just had do you feel you have long fingers or short fingers?
I have long fingers, and I think that Melissa has them too.
Okay. Well, here's the thing: you get loads of wins on loads of stuff from us against us stumpy-fingered ones. Okay, so you get loads and loads of wins. But yes, you're right. You're absolutely right, Jane. That everyone's hands are different, and therefore we have different challenges on the harp. It's one of the things I always try to remember when I'm saying how to do something, because I remember, I'm sure maybe you've heard me say this. Sorry, but I remember having a real shocked moment when I realized that one of the reasons I was struggling with harmonics was because I was trying to do it the way that my teacher did them, with her lovely long fingers. And she showed me where, it's like, you must do, you put this bit here and then you must do this. And I was trying really, really hard, and it didn't work for my hand, I don't think. And then when somebody or freed me up, or I freed myself up, I don't know, as to being able to use anywhere, because I mean, there's one live chat in StartHub where I demonstrated using my nose as the stopper and making a harmonic. It doesn't matter how you stop the middle of the string, does it? Actually, what matters is how we use the thumb to make the tone, and how we move away and when we move away. But yes, and that was a real aha moment for me, Jane, of hang on a minute, there isn't a way for anything, because we're all different, so for our whole of life, but I fell into the trap. Now, actually, Alison, was it with you, with somebody? I'm not sure it was. There's somebody I was teaching 2 terms back, and we were talking about a Tufé hand position, I think. And I fell into the same trap, Jane, and I was busily going, yeah, well, I hold my hand at this angle, and this works, and we looked at it, and actually she had to turn her hand much further round than I do, because I have little fingers, little hands, fairly little, so for my octave, I'm pointing at about, what's that, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, if you think of the clock, if this is 12 and this is 6 on the string angle, then my finger's pointing to about 10 o'clock. But for someone with longer fingers to do it, obviously your hand's got to be much higher up, hasn't it, to do it? And so there's absolutely no point in me saying which angle you put your hand on. And I was really, really disappointed in myself, and I was like, come on, Shelley, I've been working at this for years to try and not be like that. But we all do it, is what I'm trying to say. So Jane, yes, question everything, trust no one, basically, observe what other people are doing, listen to what they have to say, and then you've got to look in and reflect and see if it works for you. But Llewellyn, for instance, Jill, he can play tenths like they're a third, he's just he's straight off. And I remember doing we did the Planet Suite where there were 2 harp parts in orchestra together, and I remember him just going, this is easy, and I was just like, this is really uncomfortable, because of the hand difference. But then I'm sure that I know that we get wins in other things. So yeah, and I've taught people that have had bones taken out of their hands, and we've had to look at different ways of doing things. Many of us either have arthritis or will have it at some point in our lives. We have to work with our hands on that as well. And it's finding, none of these things are going to stop us being able to play beautifully. It's finding our most comfortable way to do it, which is why I come back to this thing I say all the time. We want to play as beautifully as we can and be as comfortable as possible while we're doing it. But that very much ties into us as a person and our own hands and our own minds and everything. So that's a great aha. So now, instead of thinking, but I just want to reframe it for you, rather than you thinking, I've got these long fingers that get in the way. Don't feel like that. Be like, wow, I've got these wonderful, beautiful, elegant hands that can do beautiful, lovely tenths and can flow up the harp without any trouble. Your turns, you've got these, you lucky thing, you've got a longer finger to turn with, all these things. So try and think of all those. And then with other things, just, if you're being shown something, just reflect on is that actually going to work for my hand? Is there something I need to do? And always it seems to come back, I think, to then how we are holding ourselves, keep finding the place where we're having the least tension, and finding the thing where we get the minimal effort for greatest reward. So if you're finding that your fingers are in the way in some way, how can you use the least muscle and do the least movement to be able to still make it sound good and not let them be in the way, So it might be that you have to move your elbow out slightly, for instance, to not have them in the way. I don't know, I'm now making stuff up, but you hear what I'm saying. So reframe it in your mind and also, be just try and enjoy the things that you get from your particular handshake, and just reflect on anything that you find challenging. And let's talk about it, because some of us went, I've got little hands, and others of you went, I've got longer fingers. Okay, so and it's just we have to find what works for us. Oh, that's my rant. That was a big rant. Sorry. I always get overexcited in these sessions. Sorry. At some point I get excited about something like, whoa, and that was my moment tonight. So I'm excited for you that you had that moment. It's a good, positive thing.
There's something else. I was asking last week about my partner being with us, and she's not going to make it yet. There's one bad thing. She's coming for the weekend. My quartet won't be able to rehearse because one of our members is going to get a new puppy, and she has to go and get it. But on the other side, that means that we can do more harp duets.
Yes. Oh, there we are. That's brilliant. Oh, well, you can enjoy. It's a great, if she's visiting you, then it's great to make the most of that, perhaps. So that's lovely. Oh, well, enjoy. Send us a video into the group, maybe, of a duet. That would be lovely. We'd love that. Brilliant. Fantastic. Anybody else got anything else you want to add in tonight? Share any highlights, anything? No. Okay. I think, and we're actually 2 minutes early finishing then. Is that going to be okay? Is that, yeah, okay. Well, I'll turn off the official recording anyway, and I'm sure we'll still be here in 2 minutes time, probably most of us. So thank you very much, everyone who's come tonight. Thank you, Alison, Ethna, Jill, Jane, Jean, Melissa, and Sue, Pat and Mary, and Lorraine. We're all going to watch the replay, and anyone else, welcome to you guys. Goodbye to you as well. So thank you very much. Shall we unmute and say bye-bye? Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Great
Enjoy
to see
the rest
you.
of your week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.